The next segment is fostering an innovative ecosystem. And sadly, yes, we are celebrating innovation, but we are also on a steep time slide because the government of Gujarat has a very special meeting with all the speakers and they want to meet them. And I would also request all the speakers to stay after the vote of thanks for a special photo op. My next speaker is Mr. Aaron Kohvi. He's a founder of WaterGen Israel. And this Israel startup has developed a portable device that generates large amount of water from desert air. The system will offer troops in conflict zones a cheap and safe way to stay hydrated, but clearly the potential civil implications of such a water-making machine will go well beyond military ones. Can I request Mr. Aaron Kohvi to please come on stage, please? A round of applause for Mr. Kohvi, please.
No. Just talk about Mr. Kohvi is a part of the 1 to 100 top thinkers, and he is also a part of a team member with the Barack Obama on the research on the water. Thank you very much.
Hi. My name is Ari Kochavi. I'm from Israel. I'm the founder and president of WaterGen. Where is it? WaterGen was chosen this year as one of the 50 most innovative companies in the world. It was a big honor because all the list is companies like Google, Apple, Twitter, and so. We were chosen as number 21 in the world in innovation. We also chosen this year as Innovative Leadership of the Year by Frost & Sullivan. Personally, I was chosen 3 weeks ago as one of the 100 leading thinkers in the world. I'm still getting used to it. No, it's 3 weeks ago. And one of the top 10 innovators in the world. No, it's too much. No, it's really too much. And with all those awards in mind, I want to convince you that the path is wiser than the walker. The way is much smarter than the guy who going there. Okay, keep those awards in mind and try to be convinced that the way is more important than the people. By the way, it's the wisdom of the Tao, of Tao Lao Tzu. First, I want to convince you that there is no single Eureka moment. There is nothing like you sitting in your room alone or on a hill and have an idea and said, okay, this is the idea that will capture the world. There is no. I never had that, and I'm one of the top innovators. There is nothing like that. Innovation, on my point of view, comes from the way. Come from the way. I'm begging you, start to walk. Speak with people, with a lot of people. Try, think, do mistakes, but go. Don't stand. The wisdom is in the walking. Choose your way all the time, but don't wait and say, I need to find a wonderful idea. Start walking. The way is much smarter than you. WaterGen story. WaterGen start from defense. I'm coming from the Israeli Special Forces ages ago, and the need for water in the front line is something I know from my feet. So we decided to develop products that will produce water to the soldiers in the front line. So we developed 3 lines of product. The first one is water from air, producing water from the humidity in the air for the soldiers. The second one is treating air conditioning water that comes out of air conditioning and treat it into drinking water. And the third one is mobile water purification operated by battery. In all those fields, we are the first one in the world and the only one in the world currently. Our products are for ground usage, for infantry, and for vehicle, and we're selling our product to US Army, UK Army, French Army, Israeli Army, and others. But, but, let's start about water from air. Water from air, you need no pipes, you need no water supply, which is problematic in India. You need just electricity. The waters that are coming out of air are perfect, are H2O. All the contamination you know coming from the ground, coming from the pipes, is not the water. If you're taking water from the air, you start with H2O. Water tank. We have internal water tank that are kept sterilized all the time. So the water are over there and keep good. Because of our technology, we can produce water at home that costs only 1.8 rupee per liter. It's 1.6 rupee. Thanks. It's the way. 1.6 rupee for the electricity and 0.2 rupee for the consumable. And it's green, no bottles, no cans, all this mess. This is our military application. We have a ground systems. You see here in the US Army exercise, they just put one of our system, electricity, and it serves water to all the soldiers in the camp. This is the issue. I'll go over it. It is because of our technology, we need just 310 watt-hour to produce 1 liter. It means that about 3 liter per kilowatt. And we have a military application for vehicles. It is this system. It's producing 40 liters a day from the air. You can see it over there on the Israeli Merkava and the Indian Arjun tank in Rajasthan. The Indian Army want us to have a high demanding challenge, so they took us to Rajasthan desert, and we produce a lot of water from air in Rajasthan desert on the Arjun tank. Ages ago. Now we are doing the first pass. I told you the way is more important than the walker. The first pass is to civilian application. We start with military application because this is what I thought that it will be the need. But we realized that because we had a good technology and we produce a lot of water with minimum energy, we can do it for civilian. So the first pass is to civilian application. This is a system we're showing here in the trade show in Gujarat, in the Virat, Gujarat. It is a system that produces 30 liters a day in India of perfect water. The cost, as I told you, it's 1.8 rupee. And it can be for home, office, with no bottles or cans. So this is the pass. I never planned to do home appliance for India, but when you have the technology, you can do that. One pass. This is another tip that it's important to say. From the beginning, concentrate on the main challenge. Don't go for everything. Define what is the main issue. And our main issue is electricity versus water. Electricity versus water. When we decide that this is the challenge, everything we did is around that. How to do more water with less electricity. I'll give you one of the secrets, a bit philosophically. When you're doing air conditioning, water is byproduct. You don't need the water for air conditioning. When you want to take the water out of air, cold is byproduct. You don't need the cold. So what we did is better and better ways to recycle the cold, to reuse the cold. Because there is no mission, to chill the world when you're doing water out of air. There's a mission to use smartly the electricity. So we're recycling the cold. So we develop better and better technologies to recycle the cold. This is why you can find some devices on the market, mainly Chinese devices that take 1,500 watt-hour per liter, and we develop better and better ways that now we need 310 watt-hour per liter, 5 times more per 1 kilowatt. And this is because we develop algorithms that run all this, but mainly because of the second point here. We develop a heat exchanger, you know, it's a matter of heat exchanging, made out of plastic, which if engineers are here, will say, heat exchanger from low conductive material make no sense. It makes no sense. But for our purposes, it's perfect. So we develop a plastic heat exchanger, which is the base for our technology. And this is the third tip. The biggest enemy of innovation is the question how it never done before. Forget that. It's meaningless. You should learn very, very smartly and all the details of anything done before. But trust your way. At times, your new solution to a specific small problem opens a new path that you will be the first one to walk in. Our way is to choose, for example, the plastic. Nobody choose heat exchanger of plastic. But when we turn non-conventionally to this direction, we found a way that opens new and newer paths that we are the first one to walk in, and we're improving our advantage. So trust your way, and don't think it must be wrong because nobody done it before. Okay? Another path. We realized 2 years ago that you don't have to drink the water. When you're taking water out of air, you dry the air. Okay? It's the same issue. It's the other side of looking of it. Taking water out of air, the air becomes drier. I was in the gym in the middle of the summer in Tel Aviv, sweating, and said, taking the humidity is good enough. You don't have to drink the water. So it's opened a new field for us, and a huge field for us of air dehumidification. Dehumidify the air. And dehumidify the air is for dry storage, you know, of equipment, of food, of anything. Dehumidify the air is related to air conditioning. You know, air conditioning is facing two problems: air dehumidification and chilling the air. In India, for example, half of the electricity is for dehumidify the air and half of the electricity is to chill it. If we can dehumidify the air with much less energy, or the air conditioning takes less energy. And right now we are upgrading the laundry dryers of the biggest brand you know, Korean, Germans, all the big brands you know, by our technology. We're installing our technology inside their laundry dryers, and by that taking them from B level or C level to A level of energy. It's not the walker, it's the way. When you have the technology, you find paths. It comes to you. If you if you speak with people, if you're looking for opportunities, I would never thought in the beginning that we'll do laundry dryers, civilian laundry dryers of air dehumidification. It's not how it started, but it's the way. Okay? The way, but it's not moving. Opa. Let go the original purpose. This is tip number 4. Let go the original purpose of your invention. When you have accomplished that, you may find other applications that you originally did not think about. Okay? Keep it in mind. The way. Right now we're doing, for example, air dehumidification. In the US, you're getting Energy Star, you know, the high rank of energy usage. If you're doing humidifier, taking just 540 watt-hour per liter. 540, you're getting Energy Star. Most of the companies could not reach Energy Star. We do it for 325. 40% less than right now is getting Energy Star. And again, it's the way. This is what I'm trying to convince you. And then you have dry storage, industrial, military, all that. I'm getting the sign that I should fast. For example, dry storage, think about a pasta factory. Pasta factory has a lot of humidity. Right now, if you need to reduce the humidity, you're using air conditioning. But you don't need to chill this. You want to keep the heat inside and just dry it. This is what we're saying to air conditioning manufacturer. Split your demands, dehumidifying and chilling. It's not the same. Right now, they have a hammer, and they hit more and more. If you need more dehumidifier, no. Specify what you need and just target that. So we have those kind of bakeries, all those. Clean rooms, I'll go fast on that. Clean rooms, all kitchens, all the places that you should more dehumidify than chilled, dry storage of fruit, food, all that. AC water treatment. Another story. After submitting the patent of our first water from air, I was driving after a bus in Tel Aviv, in the middle of the summer. And I saw rivers of water coming out of its air conditioning. And I thought, it doesn't make sense. I'm developing a new product, taking new energy, taking new bulk to produce water, but there are water over there, but they're spilled on the ground. So we developed the water treatment unit, taking the water from the air conditioning, treating it into drinking water, and serve it to the soldiers. And then, you understand my way, there is the path to civilian application. Think about Indian train, the air conditioning train here. Each cabin of the Indian train is spilling on the ground about 40 liters an hour. 40 liters an hour. While the train authorities are serving bottles of water on its account. And we told them, it doesn't make sense. Thank you. Just afraid from the time. It doesn't make sense because you have the water on the cabin. It doesn't make sense to spill that water while bringing new water in bottles. So this is the water treatment unit. Just the civilian application is just to put a tap in buses, in trains, and just use the water that's already there. Another turn is our spring, a battery-operated mobile water purification. It's the first, as we know, it's the only a battery-operated mobile water purification. A story, and it's true, I can swear. I came to the office one day and told my guys, I want a new system that will be called a spring. And they told me what the spring is doing. And I told them, I don't know. But I know that I want the soldier to have the feeling that they find a spring, a fountain in where they are. This is what I know. I'll come back in a few days and tell you what is the specification of this product. And this is how it comes. Our third line of business, the spring, coming from associated word. I came and said, okay, this is what it is. It's battery operated, it's filtered water, whatever they are. This is the solution. But it comes from a word. I'm trying to convince you once again. It's not one single moment of, oh. It can come from a lot of things. Here, it comes from a word. This is the truth. A spring. I want a spring. I want a new system called a spring. And this is the spring. The spring is battery operated. It works with a single battery, military battery. It's over there. And it can filter any water it found in the field. Agriculture water, water container. The demand of the Israeli Defense Force was, even if the water are poisoned by purpose, someone put cyanide or arsen to kill you. The spring should filter that water and serve good drinking water. Yeah, this is the challenge. This is the challenge. So facing this challenge, we have two solutions. It's important to say. One is very, very, very complicated and new filtration. And the second is monitoring. We are monitoring the water to find out if it meets the requirements or not. There is no such a thing of knowing what exists in the water, but we know what is the percentage that it's not H2O. If it's the percentage is above certain level, automatically shut off. So we're saying to the soldier, if water coming out of it, you can drink it. This is the solution. The main challenge, by the way, here is to do a lot of water with battery. A lot of water with battery, so we're recycling a kinetic energy inside. This is the issue. And the weight. Its weight just 12 kilos. So the deal we're offering the troops is there is a guy that now carrying a jerry can of 10 liters. Please replace this back to our spring, and it can filter thousands of water you find in the field. This is the deal of the back. The path to civilian application. What we're offering right now here in India is the civilian spring. It is target for places that have no running water, nor electricity. There are a lot of villages and rural areas like that. And the issue is that you cannot... I'm running out of slides. 2 slides and finish. So what we're doing is having a battery, a vehicle battery, with solar panel, that keep charging it all the time. If you're arriving a place with water, with the battery charged during the night in the nearest city, and solar panel, you can have thousands of liters water, of drinking water, from any water you find in the field. Because it will filter the battery charge, and the solar panel will recharge it. And because of our efficiency, we're doing a lot of water per watt. This is what I want to say. The path is smarter than the worker. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I think the clap says it all. It was a brilliant presentation. Can I quickly invite Mr. Jatin Trivedi? He's a patent attorney and founder trustee GIS, to present him a token of our appreciation. A round of applause, please. It's a well-deserved round of applause for the kind of innovations that are being happening and his passion. This will be given, yeah.
We are slightly running out of time, and there is a request from the Chief Minister office that we have to conclude this by 1:30, because couple of speakers are supposed to be with the Chief Minister at 1:30. So I request all subsequent speakers with apology to confine themselves so that we can cover 3 more speakers in 30 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'll not take too much of time. I'll introduce my next speaker, who is Mr. Sudhir Kumar Mishra. He's an outstanding scientist and scientist H level at DRDO. He's already here. He's a program head of missiles. Sir, please take your stage because they want to listen to you more. Thank you.
Thank you, friends. My name is Sudhir Mishra. I'm CEO and MD of BrahMos Aerospace. I make the best, fastest supersonic cruise missile in the world, and I work in the cutting edge of the technology, and how we plan to keep our superiority in this field, I would like to highlight. And how we have created BrahMos Aerospace, that's a very interesting story. I would like to touch upon that also. And I feel a little bit uncomfortable immediately after talking about the commonsensical water harvesting technology. So I think I won't be out of the place. Next, please. Oh, it's me, yeah. I would like to tell you one more thing, that in fact we derive inspiration from our great civilization. Many great things have been done in the field of cosmology, medicines, mathematics, and looking at the present geopolitical realities and necessities, we feel that this is the right time when we can take several initiatives, and which would be technology driven, high technology driven. I won't be going into it. Just one request to all the innovators of Gujarat and in this conference, please go through book written by Dr. Michio Kaku. He is a futurist and visionary. He has talked about the civilizations, and as per him, there are several civilizations, civilization 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and today, although we call ourselves as a very developed civilization, but as per him, not as per him, as per Carl Sagan, we are at 0.7 level of civilization. And when we reach more than 1, maybe 1.5, then the travel between planets, travel between solar system, maybe between galaxies would become possible. And the same thing has been predicted by Acharya Bhardwaj also 3000 years back. Just to tell you about the war, the concept of the war, we started fighting with bare hands. Many evolution took place, right from hands to dagger, stones, cavalry. Then, one development took place which talk about our innovation in the country. Tipu Sultan, he has used rockets as a missile in the 1792, in the Srirangapatnam war. You see, the rocket technology was developed by Chinese thousands of years back, but he used this thing against the Britishers. And he lost the war. Britishers collected his rockets. These rockets used to have about 2 kg of gunpowder, and the rocket used to go swirling in the air to about 150, 200 meters, come down on the enemy territory, and used to create so much of chaos that enemy used to run helter-skelter. That used to be the idea. They have seized it, Britishers, and they have used it in the US Civil War. And after that, anyway, we were under subjugation, and no more technology development took place in this field. The second most challenging, the second most proud moment happened when India developed BrahMos supersonic cruise missile in 2002 onwards. This is one of the most innovative thing because we were first to use it in the world. How did we do that? In 1990s, when Soviet Union was imploding, Dr. Kalam, he was talking to one of the Russian scientists, and they told that they have some of the technologies which is half cooked, but it can be made perfect if India join hand and do some funding. And that's how the BrahMos name is Brahmaputra and Moskva river. Brahmaputra, Moscow. So Brahm and Moscow. So this is the name, combination of two rivers. And that's how the BrahMos is born. And both the countries, we brought our resources, our technologies, and we pooled together all the three. And we called them process stock. From the Indian side, we were very good in the inertial navigation system, onboard computers, fire control systems, platform systems, and Russians were very good in the area of ramjet technology and seeker. We brought together, formed the company in India, and thus the BrahMos supersonic missile was born. A very, very innovative financial planning has been done while designing the BrahMos. Soviet Union was broke. Russians had no money, but India had to repay the debt to the Russians. And when we made the proposal, we told to the government that anyway you would be paying the money to Russians, if not today, maybe after 6 months, after 1 year. So why not we use that debt money, that repayment money as the equity contribution from the sides of Russians. And we formed a company having $250 million equity, and 50.5 was from Russian side, from Indian side, 49.5 from the Russian side. Now, why this ratio? Again, very innovative thinking is gone into it. We thought, Russians were saying it should not be owned by government of India. And Indian government was saying we should have a majority shareholding. So we said, okay, fine, 50.5. Had we crossed the 51%, we would have become the public sector undertaking. And that's how the financial innovation has been done. And investment, very important thing, investment worth 300 million US dollar has given the business worth more than $6 billion today. And we are going to get orders worth $4 billion plus exports as and when Government of India allows us. And our business is going to be more than $10 billion in another 4-5 years. Now, we did lot of product innovation also. When the BrahMos missile was born, it was only an anti-ship missile. We made it a universal missile. We thought that if it is a anti-ship missile, we can use it for land application also. And thus, Army came on board. We created BrahMos for Indian Army. Air Force said, if this can be made for Indian Navy and Indian Army, then we can also use it on our Su-30 aircraft. So the missile became a product which was for unique application, single application. That became a universal product. So we brought multi-platform features into it. We brought multi-trajectory feature into it, so that the missile can be used in the various configurations for various applications. And we ensured that the missile is capable of being used in all the diverse environment. Fortunately or unfortunately, India is having all kind of extreme environment, right from desert to sea to high altitude of Himalayas. So we made it multiple environment user friendly. And we made it a multi-target oriented also. I want to again give you one example of innovation. Long back, about 1950, 1960s, one Russian scientist, Vladimir Chelumi, so he retired from his institute, sitting in the park, and he watched a bird coming out from the nest, opened the wings, and then flew. So this guy, earlier, all the cruise missiles used to be kept open into the atmosphere. And he got the idea that if the missile also can be kept inside the canister, then 2-3 things would happen. The first thing would be the life of the missile will be increased because we will protect it in the inert gas atmosphere. The second, the transportation would become very easy. The third, there would not be any effect of environment, adverse effect of environment, and we would be able to do the health monitoring of the missile from the outside. So we implemented this in the BrahMos. The BrahMos is a canisterized missile, and once you pack it, it is packed for 10 years. You don't need to open it up. After 10 years, you go for the life extension. And I want to tell you that we are doing continuous upgradation, capability upgradation in this missile system. Earlier, we made it only for sea to sea. We made it sea to land. Then we made it land to land to fight in the urban warfare. Then we made it land to land, but to be used in the mountainous region. In the mountainous regions, our adversaries are everywhere, unfortunately. So we thought if the enemy is sitting behind the mountain, we will go from the top and hit it. And we have achieved this capability to reach up to 65 plus minus 15 degree. Now, challenge to me is to make it 90 degree so that I can use it against aircraft carriers. You remember 1971 when we were threatened by the aircraft carriers. I will ensure that that situation never arise in future for India. And the second is, if the enemy is sitting behind the hills, I will not only hit from the top, but I will be able to hit it from the surround also, surround capability. So I'm planning to bring the surround capability. You see, you must have heard about the surround music system. I got the idea from there. So I'm going to hit not from the top, but from the side also like an aircraft. So in the defense industry, what happens? first you make a product, get the order, demonstrate it to the user, then you get the order and get the money. But in our case, what happened? We got the money to do the design and development, and we made the product. But the first time this kind of missile has been made in the country, and we didn't know whom to approach, and we found Admiral Puri. Admiral Raman Puri, he was a visionary. He saw the missile, he talked to us, he said, yes, I will allow one of my ship to be used as a launcher for the missile. Let me see what happens. And we ourselves were so much scared, we didn't know what to do, what would happen. And the moment missile was launched, he said, all my Rajput class of ships, our class of ships, this missile is going to be there. And when the Navy came on board, Air Force also came on board, Army also came on board. So that's the beauty of this model. I think I'll jump it, otherwise I'll be taking the time. This here, actually, we would like to. I would like to tell you that here is the customer delight. The customer delight is at the very close, very, very difficult thing. You can meet it by the procurement. It's the easiest thing to do. You will be doing the balancing. But if we do the transfer of the technology to manufacture in the country, you would be going half the way. But if you do the design development in the country, and even if a limited amount of technology partnership with a foreign partner is agreed to, then you will come to know the why. And we would reach into the region where we would be in a position to even export the system. So that's the idea of showing this to you. This is the dream of Dr. Kalam, which we have imbibed and which we have promised to ourselves and to the nation. That is, we would like to make a missile which would be reusable, which would travel at the hypersonic speed, and which would drop the weapon, come back safely to the launch pad. So this is the dream. And this dream, I think the people who are sitting here, who are from the Karma Bhumi of Lord Krishna, they can understand it very easily as a Sudarshan Chakra. So this would be the ultimate Sudarshan Chakra for the country. To achieve that, we have taken certain new initiatives. I call it innovative initiatives again. We have opened a Center of Excellence in ISC Bangalore. We had the best scientists from IITs and NITs, nothing but toppers. And we have placed them to Bangalore and said that you just do the research. We don't look for any output from you. Keep on doing the research so that we can first arrive at aerodynamic configuration. We can, we don't know what would be the physics at that 7 Mach. We don't know what material would be able to work at that high speed. We don't know what kind of electronics would be available and what kind of electronics will function at that much high temperature. We are not at all aware of it. So that's the kind of blue sky research we are doing. And we opened one more research center in Moscow Aviation Institute, Moscow. There also we are doing the research. So research here, research there, we'll pull together again the technology of both the things, and then would be able to realize this. We used to say sky is the limit, sky is not the limit. Space is the limit, space is also not the limit. Say universe is the limit, universe is also not the limit. I say the innovation is infinite, and it's an endless process, it would happen. Sorry if I've taken more time.
Thank you so much. I think it was a very, very inspiring presentation. Can I invite Mr. Navrattam Sahu to present our small token of appreciation? A big round of applause. I think we have bright ideas and warm hearts when we heard that the safety of our nation is in such good hands. Thank you, sir. And our next distinguished speaker, he needs no introduction really, is Dr. Professor Anil Gupta. He is a professor IIMA and founder Society for Research and Initiative for Sustainable Technologies institution, that is SRISTI and Honeybee Network. Sir, the stage is yours and the audience is waiting for you.
Good afternoon, friends. After having seen such powerful technological feats that you have just witnessed, congratulations to Brahma's team. I had the opportunity to visit them when Dr. Pillai was there. And I can tell you that this is one of the best examples of collaboration of how can the best of the world, best of the formal and the sector from both the countries can work together. Let me offer to you another angle of innovation ecosystem in our country, which perhaps could become a platform for bringing similar cooperation among many, many countries around the world, and can therefore help us in harnessing the creative energy of our people at all levels: children, farmers, artisans, mechanics, technology students, and professionals. There are different drivers of inertia which cause some societies to stagnate, some societies to progress, and therefore we must remember, I will not go into detail, that whenever we design solutions, whenever we conceive innovations, they must overcome those kinds of inertia, and they must try to bring in those elements of design which make us empathetic. And how can that happen? That can happen through an open innovation platform. So when 25 years ago Honeybee Network started, it was essentially the first open innovation platform which helped bring people's ideas together. So you have cross-pollination, you have anonymous people becoming known, have their identity being recognized, and we share benefits with them. Now, if you look at the open innovation platform, there are 2 or 3 kinds of asymmetries that we are trying to bridge when we look at knowledge system. The first is, if you look at the knowledge asymmetry in the network and synaptic interactions to another dimension. If both are low, that means everybody has similar knowledge, and if there is not much interaction taking place, we have an insular ecosystem. Nothing much happens there. We are all living in our own cocoons. If asymmetry is high and there is no interaction, we have an island of excellence somewhere. Some people know a great deal, but other people don't get to know because there is no interaction taking place. If you have low asymmetry but lot of interactions, you have peer learning. We don't really raise our level of knowledge a great deal, but if you have high asymmetry and high interaction, you can really have an inclusive knowledge system. So idea is not to reduce asymmetry. Idea is to produce excellence in as many nodes of knowledge as possible and then help them interact. That is the model. Similarly, if we look at the organizational knowledge systems, say R&D systems, companies, organizations, labs, workshops, if we have 2 possibilities here, inside out and outside in. If both are low, then we obviously have an ostrich system. I don't want to learn from others, I don't want to tell anybody anything to others. If you have inside out high, outside in low, you are a pollinator, like Tesla, like Toyota. They opened lots of patents recently. Why did they do that? Because they want more actors to come to the domain and generate vibrance in the system. Have you ever heard about large corporations, new companies like Tesla sharing their patents in the open system? A new framework is emerging. If you have both high, both of them are high inside out, high outside in, that is DB. Dil bada, dimag bada. Big heart, big mind. That is the model we need in our world. That is the model we need. Big heart, big mind. Only those who have big heart and big mind can be open to learn from others and can share with others. That is what Honeybee Network offers. That is what our country offers. That is what the model of innovation that we want to discuss today with all the delegates, that India is willing to learn from anybody and everybody, be it Israel, be it Russia, be it anybody, but we are also willing to share. And we must have a possibility of learning from each other as a peer. Now, what is the autopoiesis model? Autopoiesis model, you know, this tree we came across, every 6 months we walk in different parts of the country. In summer, we go to the places which are hot, like in Shodhyatra, the walking journey. And in winter, we go to the places which are cold. So our 34th walk, twice a year, 34th walk will be in Sikkim, -5 to -20 degrees centigrade, from 8th of January to 3rd February. And we walk from village to village to learn from people. So one of the walks, I saw this tree. And I said, what happened? This tree realized after a while that it was not supposed to branch. The moment it realized that it has branch, it made that branch into a parallel stem. I am talking to you despite the fact that many cells in my body are going through mutation. Thankfully, they are not becoming cancerous, so I can continue to talk to you. This ability of nature to auto-repair, to heal itself, to self-design, to self-create, that is the power we need in innovation, products and services. We must design systems, we must design organizations, we must design products and services which can improve in the hands of users, and lend themselves to multiple direct trajectories of application. So we don't have to stitch a cloth finally. So let's say I give a semi-stitched cloth or cut cloth, and you design it and tailor it according to your dimension. That is the autopoiesis model. Let me give an example. In Meghalaya, Cherrapunji district, which receives the highest rainfall in the world, 35,000 millimeter a year, a community asked a question, and they asked a question as to, we have to build a bridge across the river, but how will we build the bridge? Now, this is not the knowledge you will find in Israel, dear friend, and you won't find it in US either, but you need it just as we need your technology. We both need to learn. So they asked the question. So first thing is culture, which creates curiosity. We want to build a bridge, but we don't want to build a build that everybody else has built. We want something sustainable, as low entropy as possible. So culture created a question, a desire. Then comes the question, technology. You need to have ways of doing that. So how do you pull the ropes of roots of ficus species from two ends of the river and join them and put pebbles in between? That was the technology. But then technology is not enough. You need institutions which will bring people together, which will create values and norms and cooperative system. So therefore, technology is like word, institutions are like grammar, culture is like thesaurus. We need all the three for a sustainable ecosystem. Any one we focus, we will miss the point. We need to build all the three in synergy. So that is what we learn. Now, how does our society interpret that? So we were in Purulia, we came across this beautiful site of having clay terracotta horses under a tree. So we asked the potters, why did you keep such beautiful terracotta horses, clay horses? Somebody can take them, somebody can break them. By the time the potter knew that I was a professor, they said, Professor, you have done a mistake. I said, what mistake did I do? They are not the beautiful ones, they are the best ones. We have kept the best creations here so that when our children walk by this street, they know what the current standard of the best is, they must do better. That is the spirit of this country. That is the spirit of this country, open source standards of excellence, open source standards of excellence. If we can do that in every walk of life, in every institution, every college, every school, every district, we can fulfill the dream that we have in our country today, which is moving from entitlement to entrepreneurship mode. We can really achieve this goal in very quickly. But we must remember, there has been a very long tradition, at least 20 to 30,000 year old tradition, that whenever somebody tries to do something more efficient, the mothers complain and the society complains. What are you doing, boy? You are chiseling this stone for since morning. Your brother is pulling the rocks in the hill. Why don't you help him? No, he didn't help him. He solved a solution. He solved a problem by creating a wheel which has helped us till date. So whenever there will be innovation, there will be obstacle to that. There is no question about it. There will be condemnation, there will be censor, there will be ridicule. But there is one way in which we can avoid that. If we can make the pivot of our ecosystem as fungible excellence, excellence which is fungible. But we must remember that all of us who can be excellent in some domain are very mediocre in other domains. I may be outstanding in my teaching, but I may be mediocre when it comes to singing, when it comes to doodling, when it comes to drawing. And we must accept that excellence cannot be in every domain. So we must appreciate and tolerate mediocrity of certain kinds, at the same time propelling those people to excel in at least one domain. Angular excellence is what the system is. Let me show you some examples. There is one girl in Gandhinagar, Index B main director, he was at that time Collector Sarup. So we discussed, I had been teaching at Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy and he was a student, so he knew me. I said, Sarup, let us work together and do something different. He said, what can we do? I said, let us have an idea competition in all the 600 schools of Gandhinagar. So in Gandhinagar district where you are, we had a competition. Out of 5,000 ideas, we selected about 5. 5,000 ideas, we selected 5. One of which was Chaya Thakur from Bhor village. What did she do? She saw in the village, in the school, all the taps were at the constant height. She was a tiny girl. She couldn't reach the taps. For last 50 years, this country had inertia of a kind which all of us had seen those taps. None of us realized how will little kids drink water. She said, sir, why can't we tilt the pipe? Simple solution, didn't require rocket science. Did not happen all these years. So great ideas can come from children. We must not treat children only as sink of advice and sermons. Children can be source of solution. Look at this, kids. Many of you are not sitting properly. You are going to have pain in your back. You are tilting. I'm sorry, sir, you are also tilting. You know, we need to sit straight. And children realize that these adult people never understand. So two of them gave an idea. One of them said, we will have pressure sensors on the back. If you're not pressing all the 5 sensors, the chair will start singing, will not let you work. Great idea. Other one said, if you're in front of a computer screen, and if you're not sitting properly, the screen will go off, a message will come, please sit properly before I will let you work. Now, that's a great idea, because we have all, I've had back pain so many times, I can honestly tell you. But children are perceptive, they are impatient, they can be creative. So ST Microelectronics, a company near Delhi, Noida, is helping us in translating this idea into practical solution, because they are one of the semiconductor companies. And there are so many such ideas coming from children which can become innovations in our system. A folding seat with a bag, a shoe freshener, and so many such ideas which can be there. A co-creation. When a rickshaw wala is driving the rickshaw, is finding a steep slope, the passenger also can co-paddle. This is one of the innovations which went to market recently. A girl, an 8th class girl from Patna, saw her grandfather not being able to climb the stairs with a walker. Many of us use walker. My wife uses walker. And I didn't think about this solution. What was the solution? The front legs had to be adjustable. When you climb up, they become shorter. When you climb down, they become longer. Nobody did that. Many of you know these walkers. Many of you are having these walkers. You can't find in the market till recently. Now this walker is in the market. She got the royalty. She gets 2 lakh rupees in her account. And she is the youngest entrepreneur of our country, because this innovation, with the help of National Innovation Foundation and ifindia.org, has gone to market. So we are trying to convert ideas into investment into enterprises and generating. So this is what Honeybee Network is. A nameless, faceless person comes in contact with the network, gets an identity. Let me come, I'll skip some of the portion and come to few lessons that we must address, and I'll try to finish in the next 5 minutes. There are 4 levels at which we can learn from innovation, and this is true for all innovations. First is artifactual, second metaphorical. So when I looked at the tree, it was metaphor for self-correction, for self-design. Heuristic, I will give you an example, how can we learn from heuristics, the principle, the thumb rules underlying an innovation. And Gestalt, the example of the bridge where we learnt about technology, culture and institution, the whole Gestalt of ecosystem. So there are 4 levels at which we can learn from any innovation, and we must not only stop at the first level, which is what we do most of the time. We look at the artifactual level, and that's where we lose much of the knowledge that is embedded in that innovation. So let's take this example. 2 brothers, Mushtaq Ahmad and Mehtar Hussain in Assam, developed a windmill of 5,000 rupees, 70 euros. And they wanted to pump water with a hand pump to irrigate a small paddy field. They asked 2 questions which the trained minds may not ask. First question, does it matter whether the paddy field, small paddy field that they had, is irrigated in 4 hours or 40 hours? The answer was, it doesn't matter. 40 hours is actually better. Slower irrigation will lead to less leaching of nutrients. Wonderful. Does it matter whether water comes in spurts? A single wall hand pump will not lead to smooth water. Will it comes in spurts or smoothness? Doesn't matter. So they didn't put a gearbox. A component very costly, difficult to maintain. A frugal innovation was born. We brought it to Gujarat. There are salt workers in our state which are very poor. They have a lot of drudgery. 2 people are required, one to use the counterpies, another person to train the water into salt pans. With this windmill installed in Amreli, Pipavav, 11 of them are working now. You can go and see them. Now it is a little costlier, 65,000, but very easy to maintain. Even salt workers can manage it. Now what has happened? There are 2 heuristics that follow from here. First, maximizing output per unit of time is not always good. Many times it is good, but sometimes it is not good. It doesn't give any advantage. 40 hours, if you irrigate the field, was as good as in 4 hours. If salt pan fills up in 1 day instead of 1 hour, how does it matter? Why should I use engine? Why should I use more energy? So please understand that this is a counterintuitive heuristic. Counterintuitive heuristic, we should not aim at always maximizing output per unit of time. Look at the context and then decide. Second, smoother flow is not always better than irregular flow. In many chemical plants, you have boilers, you put some mixtures. We always try to spend so much of energy in fluid dynamics to make sure that they are smooth. But sometimes smoothness of the flow does not give added advantage. Let it be irregular flow then. So looking at the heuristics, these two heuristics can be applied to any other domain. And we can develop solutions. So that is the power of heuristics, that heuristics from a very common innovation can go to very high-tech application and we can find solution. Our president recognizes these innovations. So March 7th to 13th, all of you are invited to Festival of Innovation at Rashtrapati Bhavan, the President's House in Delhi. And the awards will be given. And our president has started a very interesting scheme from last year, which is Innovation Scholar in Residence. So last year, 5 innovators stayed as the guest of the President of India for 3 weeks. This year, 10 innovators will stay as the guest of President of India for 3 weeks. No other country offers this kind of encouragement to innovators. Country is changing, the mood is changing, and we are trying to create innovation clubs. I would request all the faculty members here, teachers here, please, whichever institution you are, try to create these clubs which have to do 4 things: search, spread, celebrate innovations, and sense the unmet social needs. 4 things: search, spread, celebrate the innovations, and sense the unmet social needs. If we do this, we will have an inventory. We have a GIS map of unmet needs of the whole country. We have large number of students. 1 million students pass out of this year in technologies, every year in technology subjects. We will put this problem on their agenda as GTU and Srishti have worked together in this state. More than 15,000 small enterprises, their problems were matched by the students of GTU in third year, summer of the third year. And then they defined those problems, they got credit for it, they tried to solve them in the final year. Now this kind of linkage can be developed all over the country in all technical institutions and can be the most frugal model of R&D ever developed in the world. If 1 million students address in groups of 2 or 3 the unsolved problem of our country, there is no way these problems will remain unsolved indefinitely. This is a very interesting example of frugal innovation, Mansukh Bhai Jagani. It has now gone to Kenya and many other countries, a motorcycle-based flying machine, that is how it began. For different conditions, the users can design them differently. We developed 2 concepts, Technology Commons and GTIF. Technology Commons means people-to-people copying is allowed and encouraged. People-to-people copying is allowed and encouraged. People to firm through licensing. Now, this is a new model of innovation. We don't want to follow Western model of IPR. We don't want farmer-to-farmer fights. We want to file patents. NIF has filed 680 patents. No one organization in this country has filed so many patents for common people. And these patents have been filed in their names. Now, what we said,
Imagine technology
we created a GTIF, Grassroots Technological Innovation Acquisition Fund. We paid some money to some of them, 70 technologies, acquired their rights, make them available at no cost or low cost to the common people of the world, not just India. So India is contributing, creating knowledge public goods for the world, not just for India. We would like India to be the largest provider of open source technologies. I'm so happy Samir is here, who developed the open source drug discovery platform, and we want our aspiration to be very different from the rest of the world. Our aspiration should be to provide frugal solutions to developing world, all struggling people of the world, not just our people.
Keep moving.
The problem that is arising here also arises in Kenya, Uganda.
Imagine technology.
Why should they rediscover the wheel? They should benefit from our solutions, and we should learn from their solutions. So let me conclude by offering 3 challenges that policy has, and if we work together, we can solve all the 3 challenges. The first challenge is, how do we create compliance, curiosity, and open innovation system in India by which they expand the vision through in situ incubation model. See, incubators have been created many. I also did that in IMA a long time ago with Gujarat government's help. I would not do that again. They're very costly. The incubators and the sanctuary of innovations contrast. What we need to do is, we need to provide in situ incubation. So there are 650 districts, 650,000 villages and cities and towns. We need to incubate every idea where it occurs. We don't want young people to go and leave their old parents in the cities, in the back villages, and come to the cities. So that is the first challenge. How do we create a distributed model of in situ incubation, keeping young people where their parents are and helping them provide all the support of fabrication, design, mentoring, ICs, and whatever else they need. We should provide them there where they are, so that the social structure of our society doesn't get disrupted. We don't want to create old people house for keeping old people in that place. We want our social structure to be kept. This is one example of how we can learn and incorporate it in our modern science. All of us have gas in our kitchen. We cook food. And do you realize that the heat goes waste? People in Meghalaya, the lady in Meghalaya has 4 shelves to harness heat at different temperature gradients for different purposes. We will teach them innovation, energy conservation. No, they can teach us a few lessons. Let me give you a second challenge. The second challenge is, how do we engage youth? You know, there are three major resources in our country. One is 1 million students. In every final year, they do a project. We have a platform called as techpedia.in. 200,000 engineering projects are listed there, done by 650,000 students from 600 institutions of our country. You try to find projects by Stanford and MIT at one place, you will not find them. Try that. I have lectured there, I know that they don't have one. But in India, we have put it together. Why have we put it together? Because no young person of our country should do what has been done already. We want to raise the originality quotient of our country. That is only possible when they know what others have done. So Hiranmay and my colleagues, young colleagues, they have pooled all together 200,000 engineering projects. So Techpedia has this platform. This is how the projects are emerging from there. And I want to just draw your attention to the central figure of this, because it is from very near to Gandhinagar. All of you have refrigerator in your house. You know refrigerator produces heat. Is there any company in the world which uses this heat? No. So what has Dhruv done is, Dhruv from a small engineering college, not from NIT, not from IITs, not from big college, he asked a simple question under the guidance of Dr. Bhatt. Let me put a heat exchanger along the side of the compressor. Take the heat away, put a cold water chamber on the top of the refrigerator. Now I have a warm chamber, the hot water chamber, where food can be kept warm. When you take the heat away from the compressor, compressor works less, its life gets extended, it consumes less electricity. So 18% less electricity consumption, more output. Hot chamber and cold chamber. This is Indian model of innovation. Less energy consumption, more output, more frugality. This is where we will win in the future. So let me conclude by saying that collaboration is the way forward. We should be able to learn. That's the third challenge. How do we solve this problem? You have heard about microfinance everywhere. We have not heard about micro venture innovation finance. 1997, Gujarat government collaborated with us and we created Gujarat Gyan, Grassroots Innovation Augmentation Network. What does it do? It reduces the transaction cost of innovation, innovator, entrepreneur, and investor. We need to create micro venture finance in every district of this country, so that people will find risk capital. Private sector, unfortunately, has not invested in proof of concept technology so far, hard technology I'm talking about. IT you leave aside. Unless and until government comes forward, we will not be able to do that. 23 million people travel by train every day. 23 million people travel by train every day. We have to map, we have to mind, and we have to mentor their mind. Map, mine, and mentor their mind, we will find solutions at a cost nobody can. 23 million people traveling in long distance train, doing nothing, twiddling their thumbs. Give them challenge, ask them, give them prizes every hour, every 6 hours, and we will be able to develop a very frugal innovation. So let me just close by saying that we have this model. This is the way triangle has to be developed. We have to reduce the transaction cost of innovator, entrepreneur, and investor. This is an example where by pooling the traditional knowledge of 6 communities, a company here developed this cream, went to market, royalty goes back to them. We have gone to different countries. China has a very strong network, honeybee network, the strongest outside of India. 62 countries we received queries for these innovations. Finally, let me close by saying, mind on the margin are not marginal minds. Please remember that. Creativity counts. Knowledge matters, innovation transform, and incentives inspire. Thank you so much. Stay engaged with the Honeybee Network. Thank you.
Sir, Professor Gupta, just can I quickly invite Mr. S.J. Haider, IAS Secretary DST, to present a token of our appreciation to Professor Gupta. I think like most of us are feeling where to get started with innovation is what is in everybody's mind. Thank you, Professor Gupta. The last speaker for this session before we conclude for the day, let me tell you that we have a full day session tomorrow at the Gujarat Law University. My next speaker is Mr. Mark Wilson. He is a Senior Vice President Chief Evangelist, BlackBerry. He is responsible for helping articulate mobile industry trends, BlackBerry's strategic direction, high-level technology innovation, and unique competitive advantage and business value of BlackBerry. Can we have Mr. Wilson, Mark Wilson here, please? A round of applause.
Imagine technology so reliable.
Just a minute. Before we
It's trusted to perform
all the
life-saving
starts.
therapy.
There's going to be a photo op, so I'll request all
So
the
secure,
speakers to
it protects the
stay
world's
here,
most
and
sensitive
we'll have a photo op after
conversations.
this.
Can you
So
restart the video, please?
It can send images from space.
Can you restart the video? Thank you.
So dependable.
And just to, yeah. Okay. Okay,
Imagine
Go ahead.
technology so reliable. It's trusted to perform life-saving therapy. So secure, it protects the world's most sensitive conversations. So sophisticated, it can send images from space. So dependable, it keeps air traffic control working, power plants operating, and Hollywood cameras rolling. Software so responsive, it keeps high-speed trains running. And so advanced, it's in the world's most innovative cars. Now imagine all of that in the palm of your hand. BlackBerry. Keep moving.
Thank you. So I think as I get started, I think I'm already seeing the sign that I'm over and I should be wrapping up. So I will try to be quick. There's three things that I want to talk about. So if the topic is around fostering an innovation ecosystem, I really looked at that from a high-tech perspective. And this is coming from BlackBerry. We're based in Waterloo, Canada, next to the University of Waterloo. It's a very strong technology hub. It's interesting, out of a population of 120,000 people, we have over 500 tech companies working in it. So it's a very much a hub. In addition, we have a large presence in Silicon Valley, and we see a lot of innovation ecosystem trends happening there. So what I want to do is talk about, one, what are 7 ingredients that drive an innovation ecosystem? 2, I want to talk about one in particular, which is the platform, and understanding the importance of platform in fostering innovation within an ecosystem. And then 3, I want to talk about what I think one of those trends is as a major platform that's emerging, which is around the Internet of Things. So if we look at the first view in terms of what are the 7 trends that are driving innovation within an ecosystem, and particularly in high tech, although I think this applies to many different industries, it first starts with people and talent. And I think that we're all very smart about talent. I think one of the observations that John Davies from Intel made was the investment in recruiting women into technology. And one of the interesting things that you see is that when you're investing in bringing women into the technology market, what we see is there's a great outcome into that. And this is that 30% higher IPO valuations are linked to more women being involved in the business. The more you can bring women into the business, the higher the IPO value of a company. This is clear math in terms of one of the things that we need to do in terms of driving innovation within an ecosystem is bring more women into this. Not only is it the smart thing to do for our companies, it's financially quite strong as well. Second, I think we all talk about this is bringing in the right culture, and that culture is certainly the idea of a willingness of fail often, fail fast, and probably equally important, fail cheap. And what we see is that 18% of companies, successful entrepreneurs, have actually gone through and failed in their early attempts at starting a company. But these are the entrepreneurs that actually are building out larger companies, the entrepreneurs that fail initially. So that whole aspect of how you drive talent into the organization and how you drive a culture into the organization is critical. Capital. If you look at the U.S. as one example, 22% of U.S. GDP comes from venture-backed companies. It's incredibly important in terms of that ROI that we're seeing in a developed economy of the value you get out of that ecosystem in terms of investment. Geographic priority or proximity, there's value in that. Infrastructure, it's an interesting statistic that you see a 0.5 point increase in GDP is achieved when a company rolls out 10% more connectivity around mobility. So the ability for people to collaborate more effectively actually has a substantial impact in terms of what does that do for the output of a company. And then finally, in terms of a regulatory environment, if you look at certain countries, such as Portugal, where they've reduced the cost in terms of forming businesses and making it more easy and more business-friendly from a regulatory environment, they actually saw a jump in terms of the number of businesses that are started in Portugal. So these are 6 ways that we actually see of how do you foster an innovation ecosystem. The last one is around platforms. And I think the platform piece is very important for us to understand. So why are our platforms such a critical component and ingredient to actually fostering innovation within an ecosystem? They do a lot. They allow people to specialize on the things that they do well, and they allow other people to specialize on totally different things, for one. 2 is they allow a symbiotic relationship to exist. So large companies, say for example an Intel or a Qualcomm, say for example a Cisco or a SAP, it allows these companies, the large companies, to also support small companies. And there's a symbiotic relationship that the large companies need small companies to be successful as much as the small companies need the large companies to be successful. In addition to that, there's kind of a Metcalfe law that applies to an ecosystem, which is the bigger that you can make the ecosystem, the stronger that ecosystem is. And I think that has a lot to do in terms of fostering innovation, which goes to actually the ability of that ecosystem to reinforce a message. So this, if any of you have ever been to a business school class, is one of the slides that we all are kind of rooted around in terms of understanding. And that's the idea of the product adoption life cycle. And the idea is that if you invest early on, you're really beginning to sell a technology or you're selling a product. We get to this pivotal moment called the chasm, in which we look to want to cross the chasm. And if you can cross the chasm, there are great riches in terms of your ability to serve a market in a much more profitable way. Where I was thinking about this in terms of what does it mean for fostering innovation within an ecosystem, and I think what it has to do is one of the takeaways from this is where do you invest your time if you're looking to foster that ecosystem. In many ways, that ecosystem is most valuable where there is the biggest opportunity. And so that means when you've crossed the chasm, that's where there's a significant opportunity in terms of creating value. And I'd say the key aspect of that is what are you really looking for when you do cross that chasm? It's the applications that are getting built out on top of platforms. We've seen this in many, many cases where if you have the platform in place, it's those use cases that are the ways that you're going to drive innovation and you're going to foster innovation within that. So let me tell you about where I think there's a significant opportunity, and it's an area where BlackBerry is making a significant investment. So you all probably know BlackBerry as the smartphone maker, the one that has the most secure email, the one that has the keyboard that is really a productivity workhorse of a tool. What we've done, and I actually see some of those BlackBerries out there, so all right. What we've done is we've taken a lot of the learning around that and we've extended our business into a number of different markets. And that has to do with enterprise mobility, securing the data that resides on a mobile device, as well as now moving into what we see as the Internet of Things. And for us, the Internet of Things represents the 5th generation in terms of computing. So where we've evolved from mainframe computing to the PC computing, internet computing, mobile computing, we now see that the Internet of Things represents a dramatic opportunity. In fact, it's a $6 trillion market for us as we look at it. So when we see that, that has everything to do with what's connected in terms of what you wear, what's connected in your car, what's connected in your house, what's connected within your cities, and what's connected within your industries. So if you look at across all of those different areas, there's a dramatic opportunity for an ecosystem to take place and drive significant value within that. One area where we see this is the number of devices that are going to be coming into the market. And the thing that's interesting about this is that we see the growth of about 14 billion devices that exist today. By 2020, we see that number rising up to 35 billion devices. If you look at it, that represents 5 connected devices for every human being on the planet. That's a significant opportunity. And many of these devices are things that we've never seen before. in terms of not only being connected through our smartphones or through our computers, but also connected through a whole host of things such as our car and the whole aspect of telematics, the whole aspect of home automation and what that means to us, or fitness trackers. So you see that this world that we operate in terms of autonomous computing becomes quite complex, and it represents a significant opportunity for us. Now, where you see this really coming to fruition was CES, the Computer Electronics Show in Las Vegas last week. And one of the broad themes that you saw around that was the move to the Internet of Things. So what we see is that the platform for the Internet of Things has been built out. And now we see a lot of innovation beginning to come on top of that platform in the view of wearables and the view of actually many of these devices. And one that I'd call out is Intel, as an example, launches button-sized IoT module at CES. So you see the major platform vendors making investments, but you also see companies like MyFox launches Home Hub, secure camera, entry into sensors. Or you see Parrot extends flower pot planting monitor range. Or iDevice launches Switch, its first connected household plug. What you see is a massive amount of innovation that's capturing around this. And I think if we were to look at how do you foster innovation within an ecosystem, this is clearly an example of it. The fact that the Consumer Electronics Show is driving all of these use cases on a global basis into devices that will grow to be 35 billion, again, 5 devices per every human on the planet. This is a significant opportunity for us. So just to take it back then to what does it mean in terms of the platform, what does it mean towards the innovation, what we're seeing is a massive amount of adoption happening both at early innovation as well as mature innovation. For BlackBerry as an example, we're making significant investments not only into the Internet of Things, but also the IoMT, the Internet of Medical Things, so that you can begin to take your, you begin to map your genetic browser, through a genetic browser, map your genetic code in a matter of minutes that allows you to begin to provide significantly different treatments. And we've been partnering with a number of companies to actually create this entire platform around the Internet of Medical Things with investments in companies like Nant Health that allow us to do this. This is but the first. In addition to that, when you look at where cars are, we've announced that we connect 50 million cars around the globe, and we're seeing more of these use cases being rolled out in terms of it. Obviously, there's some clear requirements around security, around the hub of how you process information within a network that makes it quite complex. But the key aspect in terms of driving innovation is all of these use cases that are being built out within the IoT market. And I submit to you that in terms of where we see the fostering of innovation, I think we can work together in many different ways, is really build out what those use cases are. There's a number of great examples that exist today in terms of how your car can begin to self-drive, how you can begin to use a lot more information within your car. I think we're truly just scratching the surface of what this market is. I think that this is clearly one of the platforms that will drive a massive amount of innovation for the next decades to come, just as its predecessors of internet computing, PC computing, mainframe computing had done before it. So this represents a dramatic opportunity. And I think that will put us back on time. So with that, what I want to do is thank you and say that BlackBerry is committed to this idea of the Internet of Things. And I think if we can work together in terms of how we create these use cases, I think we create a lot of value globally for people, for companies, for municipalities, for industries. So thank you very much.
Can I request Mr. Saxena to please come on the stage to give a token of our respect and love to Mr. Wilson. Thank you so much. I think we have seen many shades of innovations today. And to do the concluding and vote of thanks, can I invite Mr. S.J. Haider, IAS, Secretary DST, Government of Gujarat on the stage, please. A round of applause for Mr. Haider.
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe I am confronted with a billion-dollar question. Can we innovate on an empty stomach? To my mind, I feel that it's a crime and sin not to innovate. And wondering how to, do the Thanksgiving in the most effective way. Perhaps there could be not a better and more effective way to thank all of you than to take a pledge that all of us will innovate, will help others innovate. I, for one, personally feel that in each of us, God has bestowed that capability to innovate. But as we grow, societal norms, they stifle our innovation, perhaps to an extent. Let us remove that constraint. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Honorable Chief Minister, Honorable Minister, Government of India, Shri Y.S. Chaudhary, Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Government of Gujarat, Mr. Chris Alexander, Honorable Minister of Citizenship and Immigration, Canada, Mr. Tapan Ray, Additional Secretary, all distinguished dignitaries, in particular all the speakers, Mr. Kenneth Tai, Dr. Samir Brahmachari, Dr. Adam Fennick, Mr. John Davis, Mr. Arya Kohavi, Dr. Sudhir Mishra, Professor Anil Gupta, Mr. Mark Wilson. In fact, I have been overwhelmed. All of us continue to innovate. Innovation happens to be a part and parcel of human existence. Knowingly or unknowingly, all of us have been innovating to excel, to scale greater heights, to upgrade, to augment, to surmount. I would not like to be an obstacle between you and your lunch. Please enjoy your lunch. Thanks to all of you once again.
Can I request all the speakers to come on the stage, please, and the organizing team of this summit, including all the partners. Can we have you quickly? Like Mr. Haider said, nobody should wait for the lunch. Requesting all the speakers to please come on stage. Sir, please. Mr. Gupta, please. All the speakers should sit on the stage. Please. No, you have to sit. All the speakers need to sit. Do we have all the team members of the organizing team from CII? Yeah, Sahu, please come. Yeah, he's here. Is the CII team here? So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and we will continue the sessions tomorrow. The session starts at 9:30 at the Gujarat Law University.
Tomorrow's GNLU announcement.
Please announce it. I just said.
The announcement.